Club champions have swept all before them over the past 12 months. Now bottom of the table, Huddersfield stand in the Saints' way. What price? The biggest upset of the year here at the McAlpine Stadium. Wins this weekend for Wigan, the Bulls, London, Hull and Leeds. So this is the way the table looks now. Bradford on top by 3 points over Hull, who are second again. Wigan come next, Leeds are fourth and St Helens are fifth. London are then sixth, and there's a massive match for them next week against Leeds. Saints look to consolidate here. Huddersfield aim to get their season off the mark. The World Club champions, the treble winners, they also have the Super League trophy and the Challenge Cup safely tucked away at Knowsley Road, and this is their team. Stewart at fullback, Hoppy, Iro, Newlove, Sullivan, Wellens continuing at standoff instead of Tommy Martin, and Sean Long is the scrum half. And the forwards, Furley, Cunningham, Edmondson, Sonny Nicol is out suspended, joins the captain, Shields and Sculthorpe. And on the bench, Yonkers, Matautia returns, Hall and Heath Cruikshank. The coach is Ian Millwood. The Saints with their usual pre-match ritual. They won a cup quarter-final by 54 points to 16 against Huddersfield. Then in Super League the following week at Knowsley Road, they won by 44 points to 22. Chris Joynt leads his men on to the McAlpine Stadium. A beautiful spring bank holiday evening here. The ground is bathed in sunshine, and a good travelling army of the Saints have journeyed over here to see whether the world champions can do the trick again. But the Huddersfield Giants supporters, they are the longest suffering fans in the business. Just 6 home wins in 4 seasons of Super League, 6 wins from 45 attempts. Will these men make it number 7? Apo, through, Cardoza, Costin, Gleeson, Thorman and Custo. The forwards, Lawton, Rowley, Marshall, Lomax, Atkins, and the McNamara is the captain. And the bench, Malloy, Molyneux, Cooper and Slicker. The coach is Tony Smith. Well, as I say, conditions absolutely perfect. There is quite a bit of a breeze blowing outside the stadium. Match referee is Ian Smith. He's in control of matters here. Inside the McAlpine Stadium, the wind will be swirling, there's no doubt about that. But Steve-O, what price? A huge upset.
Well, the bookies probably get it right by the fact that St Helens are really odds-on favourites. But the Huddersfield coach, Tony Smith, has been pretty confident. And of course, they'll be buoyed by the fact that they scored 46 points against Leeds last week. So they have the power to score. Whether they can do it against the mighty Saints, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, they set an unwanted Super League record at Leeds last Friday. 11 straight defeats, surpassing the previous 10 by Castleford in 97 and Salford in 1999. But Huddersfield here have the ball early from the kickoff. Gleeson is the dummy half, and he gets the ball away to McNamara. They drive it in again. This is early pressure on the St Helens line. This wasn't according to the plan. Dummy half is Rowley. He flips it on to Custo, and Custo cuts through almost. Edmondson just hauled him down.
Going low was Chris Joynt. It had to as well. Good run from the little halfback.
It's a good start, this, from the Huddersfield Giants. Well, in seconds.
Saints were caught napping from the kickoff.
McNamara with the drive-in, formerly, of course, with Hull and the Bradford Bulls. And there were 3 there to bring him down. And they have the penalty now. There was a hand in there and the ball was stolen. There were 3 men in attendance. Surely Huddersfield will take the 2 on offer.
Well, perhaps it'll give both sides time to reflect and just settle things down. Barely a minute has gone. Little doubt that the ball was reefed away from the Giant skipper, Steve McNamara. But that really would not have impressed the St Helens coach, Ian Millwood. They allowed that ball from the kickoff to just hover. Eddie mentioned the fact that it's in this big stadium with the wind, it does swirl. It creates a lot of problems. It'll be a difficult night for both the fullbacks, Anthony Stewart from Saints and Graham Apo.
Here comes McNamara, and first points of the night, remarkably, to Huddersfield. Huddersfield 2, St Helens 0. A lot of people have been tipping a Huddersfield upset here tonight. Amongst them, our very own Phil Clark. Phil, what a start for your boys.
Yeah, certainly is. I received a fax through from Nostradamus earlier this week, that well-known rugby league tipster, and he said that sooner or later the Giants have got to win. I think that we know when Saints do slip up, it does tend to be a team far lower in the league table, and perfect start from them. Just look at the hang time that Cousteau gets when he kicks off. It gives his players such a chance to get up there, challenging and winning possession for his team.
Well, there you are, and there is Tony Smith, the Giants coach, and Phil Clark, his neck well and truly on the line here. But stranger things have happened. And this is a run here from Cardosa, and he gets Huddersfield to the halfway line. He gets the ball away as well, and the Giants will continue this movement here with McNamara. McNamara flicks it inside. Sculthorpe was waiting, and Sculthorpe picks it up right under the nose of Dale Lawton.
In the right spot at the right time. They're having a heck of a problem getting him down. And that really should have been interference at the play of the ball.
Here is the potent weapon for St Helens.
You see the pass on the inside. Maybe Sculthorpe did call for it.
It's with Peter Shields now for the World Club Champions. Now then, just before we go any further, we have a change to our advertised schedule. We're going to go to Headingley on Friday and see Leeds against London. That crucial match at the top of the table. And what a game for the London Broncos. If they win that, they will be level on points with Leeds. It's a vital match for both sides. You can see it on Sky Sports 1 Friday at 7:30. The ball has come free. Edmondson's after it. And there was Apo to shuttle the ball dead. That Leeds London match, by the way, in place of Warrington against Wigan.
Bobbling all over the shop. And the little full-back didn't want to take the risk. Knocked it through. We drop out from underneath the sticks. He's got plenty of pace, this guy.
Yes, Graham Apo. Quality utility back, formerly with the Canberra Raiders, the Adelaide Rams and Sydney City and the North Queensland Cowboys, and operating at full back tonight. But that ball you see there, it hangs in the wind, and here now is Mark Edmondson, the young prop forward in for the suspended Sonny Nicol.
Well, you saw it giving some indication as to how strong it is as well. Saints will have the advantage in the first half.
Chris Joynt gets to his feet, plays the ball to Cunningham, he finds Long then inside to Furley, Long pass then to Shields, and Shields bounces off one tackle, bounces off two and drops it.
Well,
the referee says play on.
Yeah, good refereeing there from Ian Smith.
He took a look at his touch judge, and it allowed Cousteau to get the possession and fling the pass out wide.
A little bit lazy there was Peter Shields, claiming to the referee, but the official got it right. Well, that's two mistakes, and it's been the same man, Peter Shields. He allowed the ball to bounce from the kickoff.
Penalty against Chris Joynt. The referee counted number 2 and said the tackle was completed, and that's what Joynt did, bringing Cardosa to the ground again.
Well, a real stop-start affair for the Saints.
And that will be manna from heaven for the Giants.
Well, the 46 points that they scored last week certainly would have lifted their confidence. Okay, 11 straight losses doesn't help, but I'm sure that they would have had a little bit more zip in their training technique this week.
Tony Smith, their coach, has said he has been well pleased with their commitment and their dedication to the task. Of course, they would love to get at least one win on the board at this stage, but 11 and none is a record that nobody wants to further here at the McAlpine Stadium, and they have been getting better as the season progresses. That's a good ball out wide, and here now again comes Martin Gleeson.
Did well there, Chris Thorman. Just seemed to dip at the last moment. Got the fingertips to it.
It's with Cousteau, and this now is Lomax. No, it's Atkins, my apologies. Gleeson, McNamara, kick out wide. Tester for Sullivan, he's got it!
Has he got it down?
Did he get that ball down? It's Andrew Frew who thinks he scored.
Offside, undergrounded.
There are two things to check, as you heard the referee say. Andrew Frew thinks he's grounded it, and what about the offside?
Well, it was a superb kick from the skipper, Steve McNamara. And they have caught St Helens cold if this try is going to be awarded. What a great take from Frew. He's been in fine form.
That looks okay.
Yep. I'll take a different angle. I don't think it was offside. No, I think he's forced out. That's fine. What a great take. Completely out-jumped Sullivan. Yeah, that's try. He's got it down. It's a forearm that counts. I'll put my neck on the line. I'll go TRY on this one. But what a kick from McNamara. He weighted it superbly.
Well, Andrew Free has scored 3 tries against St Helens already this season. He has now scored 4. What a start for the Giants. What a start for the team rock bottom of the table. 11 matches played, no wins. They lead the world champions 6-0.
Early days yet, but it's the shock that they wanted to come up with. Put doubt in the minds of all the St Helens players. But this was pinpoint accuracy. We mentioned the fact that it's a swirling wind there, and he took account for it, did Steve McNamara. But what a take. Frew just completely jumps higher than Sullivan. Oh, that is a great effort.
Well, Andrew Frew, formerly with Parramatta, Manly and the Northern Eagles. 9 tries in the first 6, but just 1 try in the last 7 until that moment. And he's given Huddersfield the most unlikely 6-0 lead. And Steve McNamara here now to make it 8-0 from the far side. McNamara with an important kick. Doesn't get anywhere near it. But the Giants lead by 6 points to 0, but 1 note of caution. They threw away a 20 points to 8 winning half-time margin in their last home game against Salford. They could have won against Castleford, I beg your pardon. They could have won at Salford and at Wakefield.
It has been their problem, Eddie, is the fact that the last 20 minutes especially, but they were always confident that they could really give a good account. Oh, that's a bad mistake. They really should have got to that. Dale Lawton been around long enough to realise now he's applied the pressure. And should have had it.
I think I got those nearly wins for Huddersfield the wrong way round. They could have won at Salford and at home to Wakefield, and they certainly could have beaten Castleford here.
I knew what you were talking about, Edvardo.
All mixed up and nowhere to go. Neither at Edmondson. That is great defence.
Paul Rowley leading the way. Well, they got the tails up, that is for sure. But we all know what St Helens are capable of.
Well, look at the way it's gone in meetings since 1973. Just the 1 victory for Huddersfield in all of that time, and they have yet to beat the Saints in Super League. This now is Sculthorpe. He's 20 metres away from the Huddersfield line. Long at the line, wide to Iro. And Iro will run flat, then give it to Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe has coasted through, and the world champions are up and running. Right behind the posts. Long's kick to come. The lead hasn't lasted long.
Pretty poor defence. Let's take nothing away, though, from the dummy. You can't allow Sean Long all that room to move, and when Iro got it back through, just a simple dummy. They pushed out wide, barely got a fingertip to him. But look at the amount of room that they're allowing St Helens to crisscross away. Simple dummy. Rowley couldn't fill in. He's in fine form, this fella.
His 99th St Helens appearance here for Paul Sculthorpe in the Lancashire squad for that Origin match, and another try for him this season. Another successful kick from Sean Long, and after the early fright, the Super League champions, the World Cup champions, have levelled matters up.
Look at the space that they've left. They can't afford to do that, not with the quality of this man, Paul Sculthorpe. Simple dummy, but so effective. Well, that really has stirred up the St Helens side. Shock start, through strike, but barely a minute after, Sculthorpe in to get them well and truly back into this match.
Custo restarts, the ball hangs, as Phil Clark pointed out earlier. Underneath was Anthony Stewart. 6th start in a row at fullback for Stewart. And this is David Furley now, and he offloads brilliantly to Kieran Cunningham.
Bit of a high shot.
Taking them on.
Bit of a high shot there from Dale Lawton. Official didn't see it. It was a real haymaker.
The one thing that Tony Smith will know is that you cannot allow St Helens any room at all. You've got to be in their faces all the time in defence.
Especially this fella.
Cunningham brushes away from McNamara. McNamara comes back for a second snap at him when Richard Marshall had missed him. Shields the dummy half onto Long. Here's Sculthorpe. It's wide to Wellens. Good tackling.
Well, some are moving up, especially out wide, which is forcing them down the middle, but it's quite a few just hesitating.
Oh, Brandon Costin was so late then on Long. Brandon Costin came in, Long got rid of the ball and was very late. The Huddersfield centre.
Oh, yes. The shoulder into it, touch shot, John, not surprisingly. Oh, he hadn't committed himself. That really was a cheap shot from Brandon Costin. Well, he's disagreeing, but a few of the St Helens players giving him a little bit of jib.
Referee wants a word with Brandon Costin.
Time's off for us, captain.
I think this is going to
go
on report, yes.
Taking the kicker out. Captain Steve, because in this game, if you take the kicker out or the foul challenge late, it's 10 minutes in the bin and put it on report. Take 10 minutes, please, pal.
He's going in the bin for 10 minutes.
Hey, Steve, come here.
Well, that doesn't help the cause, does it? And he knew that he was ever so late. Just sheer frustration, really, that he couldn't get to Sean Long.
Well, I think we know he was ever so late, but I don't think Brandon Costin agrees, and Long is still down.
Oh, the ball was well and truly away.
Well, let's get news on Sean Long's injury. Here's Bill.
As you can see, they brought the stretcher on, so as Long fell, he seemed to twist. Well, there the strapping's going on. He seemed to twist, I think, his left leg. The pressure went onto his left leg. The signal went out as soon as the physio got to him that he wasn't going to be able to continue. And whether this is precautionary, but it's not like Sean Long to not bounce back from these. He takes a lot of bumps and bruises in the game. There you can see it's like the right ankle going underneath him, and that could be a long-term injury.
Well, let's hope that is not the case, because Sean Long is a key member of the Lancashire side for the Origin game, and of course looking further and further down the track. No matter what happens as far as St Helens are concerned this season, he is a vital cog for Great Britain against the Aussies. But he is in some distress.
It does not look good, I must say, and that is a shame, because it was a very late shot by Costin. When the ball came away off his boot, I felt that Costin even had to take another step to get near him. Certainly had not committed himself at the same time. And Ian Millwood,
well, he is furious.
He's concerned, and he's every right to be furious. Star players, any player that plays rugby league, have to be protected. And you heard what the referee said, Ian Smith. Sin bin, it's on the report, and rightly so. Let's just keep the fingers crossed that he's just badly shaken up, Sean Long.
Well, no wonder Ian Millwood is concerned. This is Kieran Cunningham now. Let's concentrate on the rugby, let's hope. And Cunningham struggling to his feet. He gets to his feet, and this now is Wellens. Here is Sculthorpe. Stewart has joined the line. McNamara was low down. Custo was up top, and Richard Marshall was in there quickly too. Oh, well, he's offside. I mean, dearie me, Steve McNamara knows better than that. He was not standing square.
He's about half a metre to one side.
He still was then. This is Shields, and Shields with the strength, and the Huddersfield defence managed to force him back. Sean Hoppy, David Furley. The Giants' defence stands firm for a second time. Sculthorpe at dummy half. He's going to go in again. That's easy. glorious start for Huddersfield, and it's all, I'm afraid, gone sadly wrong in the past 4 or 5 minutes, and Sculthorpe gets the second try.
Well, that's what the penalty was for. Steve McNamara stepped about half a metre to one side, but this is ever so easy. Oh, dearie me. That was poor defence. Pathetic, in fact. 2 dummies, 2 tries for that man Sculthorpe, who will take over the kicking duties, of course, now that Sean Long is off the field.
Tony Smith, the Giants coach, anxious to get his first win of the season under his belt. Many other coaches might be under a little bit of pressure from their board of directors, but here at Huddersfield apparently they're quite satisfied with the progress that's being made, and Sculthorpe proves his prowess with the boot. It's Paul Sculthorpe who's got 2 tries. Saints are ahead by 12 points to 6.
Look at the width between them. That, well, 3 double-decker buses. Pathetic, and little wonder that all the Giant players look at each other in absolute bewilderment. Not much they could do about it. It was a neat dummy, and I think that even Paul Sculthorpe will admit that's probably one of the easiest tries he's ever scored.
He's just added his first goal. Iro has lost that ball. Oh, and it's flicked back as well. It's all over the show here. Saints have it back now. Lawton missed it. And Matautia knocks it on. First touch for Vila Matautia. First goal, by the way, Sculthorpe's ever scored as a conversion or a penalty. He has scored plenty one-pointers in the past.
See the disappointment on the face of Matautia. Wasn't the best pass either. A bit sloppy on both sides.
Custo gets possession. McNamara flicks it back to Cardoza. Good defence from St Helens. 3 men, Newlove, Sculthorpe and the captain joint swarmed around Cardoza then. Here's Dale Lawton again.
It's important now that the Giants sort of get back into the swing of things. It really has been, oh, that was, whoa. Well, they've got away with it.
Certainly looked it.
They're trying to bring some power play into it.
Frew is attacking them again. I must say that in a struggling side, Andrew Frew has been getting rave notices this year.
Good work. You could see they're a little bit slack on the blind side.
Here's Custo. It's a good wide ball to Thorman. And Thorman's got Gleeson outside him. Tries to cut inside Sean Hoppy and fails. Apo was the dummy half. Custo then, not the best kick. And gobbled up easily by Cunningham. And Custo is hurt.
Yeah. I think he missed the football and kicked. As he pushed away, either way, may have strained something by not getting good contact on that football.
He's hobbling onto the wing, is Ben Custo.
But to be fair, the halfback should have stood back, given himself a little bit more room. He was extremely flat in trying to kick the ball then.
Cunningham down the blind side. Good tackle low down then by David Atkins. It's with David Fairley now. Just a little over elaborate. He tried to get the ball away to Tim Yonkers, but there's a little bit of feeling in this match, and it all goes down to that incident regarding Sean Long.
No doubt about that. But that really wasn't on. Trying to offload David Fairley. I think both sides will be better served just to ease their way back into the match. I think football from both of them.
Yes, it's remarkable when a star player leaves the field. It sometimes has a disruptive effect on both teams, doesn't it?
Well, St Helens players, they're livid over the incident. They won't know how badly Long is injured. But I do know one thing, they'll certainly work hard for him and try to get as many points as they can. There's the man in the sin bin.
Yes, Costin. Remember, the Giants down to 12 men for another 2.5 minutes. That is David Atkins. This is Custo. He gets it away to McNamara. McNamara takes the return ball from Marshall. McNamara's away. Wellens gets to him though, claws him to ground.
Good work from the loose forward, but there again there was no support No second phase. Ooh, that was high. And he ducked underneath it. That's the reason why the official has allowed it to go on.
Through, the ball bounces back. Is this going to be 6 to go? No, it's the turnover.
Yeah, the ball played the man rather than the other way around. Well picked up though, Paul Rowley. Good servant to rugby league. Never say die attitude. Oh, interference is called already. Well, it's getting very spiteful. And through having a good old natter with his opposite.
Nick Slicker has been brought on, trying his debut as a substitute against Leeds last week. He had a couple of years at Keighley before he has been given this second chance in Super League. Well, 5 penalties, and you know, Ian Smith, this will be a test of his mettle as a referee, because as you say, Steve-O, it's just a little bit spiteful out there at the moment.
And it's getting even more so. He's a good ref though. He's impressed me as this fella.
Wellens to Sculthorpe on a hat-trick already. Joint, good tackling there by Cardoza. Edmondson was a dummy half. It went backwards, so Sculthorpe looks for the hat-trick. Sculthorpe, good tackle by Appo. This is the last one for the Saints.
Did well the fullback there, allowed him to go out towards the touchline.
He's having the argument now, but Custo has claimed that ball, and back come the Giants.
They got back well there, did St Helens. They had to.
Well, there is finger wagging all over this field at the moment.
Well, Sculthorpe has already scored 2 tries, but he was well out of position. He was more intent in having a real old chin wag.
And here now is Mick Slicker.
Come on, Kieran!
Well, Liam Millward, the Saints coach, the one thing you won't want is a lack of discipline. They've already lost Sean Long with an injury. I don't know how bad it is, but we can ill afford to have someone sent off, just lose their temper.
Costin has returned, so the Giants back to a full complement. Custo forward to Gleeson, forward a mile to Gleeson. This is Thorman. Thorman stabs the ball round Yonkers, he's after it himself, and they shuttle the ball, touch and goal. Well, that was a forward pass a mile.
Certainly was.
The Giants get away with it.
The official allowed it, but good work from Wellens. Super stuff, wasn't it? Right into it, and the way that Gleeson, it was the Gleeson pass later that created the problem, but good job that Paul Wellens was sweeping up at the back, keeping it alive. Neat little kick through, but here comes Wellens. Oh, well read. Chris Thorman was really racing towards that.
Drop out, and Appo was underneath it. It slipped through his fingers, and it's arrived in the arms of Atkins. Not Atkins, Richard Marshall, and Marshall gets it over the halfway line by 10 metres. Nice little run from Rowley. He finds Gleeson. Gleeson gets away from Hoppy first time, but Hoppy is there for the second tackle.
Bit of a problem with the St Helens defence now. We've seen some 2 soft tries from Sculthorpe, but they're also breaking this line.
This is Gleeson. Oh!
Has he got it down?
The referee will give it to the video referee to make the decision. Gleeson thinks he has scored. Now then, does he hit the flag?
Soon find out. Well, he gets it down.
Well, he's not hit the flag yet.
This could be TOI. What a great effort. Tyrone Wellens was in there. No, he's over.
He's over the line.
Yeah.
It's not the flag, it's the line.
But does he touch it? Does he get the ball down first? He's got to touch over it. And have his arm raised. But we'll go for no try, I suppose.
No try it is. Martin Gleeson, it's his 21st birthday today. He nearly got more than the key of the door then.
Well, I mentioned the fact, Eddie, that they're getting through this St Helens defence. It'll create a few problems. I'm sure that Ian Mill would have plenty to say at the half-time break.
Cunningham, Edmondson bounces away from Slicker. Marshall in there, so too Rowley. Cunningham.
Good offload there. Good tackle as well. Gonna get to the legs. Where the ball to Ian Smith. Oh, that's forward a mile.
It doesn't matter, it's found touch. It was forward a mile, and the referee had made his decision. Well, we have been talking about the spite that's in this match. It has all happened because of the injury to Sean Long, an incident placed on report, and Brandon Costin in the sin bin. But let's now get some news on Sean Long's condition. Bill.
Well, the news of Sean Long is that it's his left knee that has sustained the damage. It looked initially as though it was going to be an ankle problem the way he landed, and Long is still in the dressing room being examined by the Saints doctor, and the word is that it could be a serious knee injury. Now, the Saints physio team are not just giving too much away, but the indication is that it's a ligament problem. Well, that really could be a serious blow for all concerned. And also in the Saints dressing room at the moment, Peter Shields, no stranger to stitches to the head, is having a few more inserted. So much blood that they've had to send out for a new shirt for him.
Oh dear, interception, Newlove's away. Newlove is underneath the sticks, no one even bothered to chase. The referee is first to him. He will award the try for St Helens. Newlove's try under the posts. And that all happening while we're trying to take in the news of Sean Long. And if it is a ligament damage to the knee, well, that's most appalling news.
Well, it came from an onside position and he just hung around, didn't he? Oh, great anticipation. Scored a few of those throughout his career, Paul Newlove. Experience showing there. Came out of the line and then went in between. And when he just hesitated, tried to get the ball out wide, but he just plucked it out of the air. A simple try.
And that try is the 327th of Paul Newlove's career. He now enters the top 20 of all-time try poachers, alongside the name of Sean Edwards. Paul Sculthorpe's at the extras. It's 18 points to 6, and Newlove, confirmation. He's one of the top 20 try scorers of all time.
Well, that's an easy one as well. We mentioned the fact earlier that Sculthorpe, 2 dummies, 2 tries. They really have been gifted to Saints, but you can't take it away from the fact, and that's a wonderful kick-off again.
Yes, they're catching them goal. A couple of times now they've done that. Slicker, he gets the ball away to David Lomax, the former New Zealand international. Rowley is there at dummy half. Here is Richard Marshall to drive it in. Rowley is there again. And it goes wide. And that is Costin, and he is going to get the treatment from St Helens. Their supporters. Hero is McNamara. Forward pass.
They got that one. McNamara not convinced. Just held it just a little bit delay.
Well, on that angle, he's been badly done to.
David Atkins. Oh, probably you're right. Couldn't bring in the momentum rule because McNamara was hit with a shoulder charge.
Well, I think the ball was travelling backwards anyway. The touch judge gave it because, and that won't please Tony Smith, the touch judge gave it because Ian Smith, the match referee, was underneath those posts.
Ready, guys. Let's stay in, fellas.
A change for St Helens. Heath Cruikshank comes on for young Mark Edmondson. Huddersfield now are caught offside. Well, look at that scoreline. I wonder if Phil Clark is sticking by his pre-match prediction, Phil.
Well, they're certainly not helping me, are they, really? They've just made so many simple mistakes. Losing possession from a kick-off, remember when the ball went dead, from the goal line dropout, conceding 6 points, and simple poor defence near their own line, giving away 1 or 2 penalties, and really in general terms they've competed well with St Helens, but small areas they've let themselves down, and Saints have really made them pay. Just watch how often and how well Saints offload in the tackle. And that's one of the things that Huddersfield is struggling to hang on to.
Yes, they're 20 metres away from the line again, the Saints with Cunningham. Here is Tim Yonkers. It's now with Peter Shields. And Peter Shields, well, he's got a cut on the head. It's had stitches. He's got a new jersey on. Cunningham, they won't stop him. They won't stop Kieran Cunningham. Another member of the Lancashire squad for that Origin match. Kieran Cunningham with his 8th try of the year.
Well, this defence is just pathetic. No work, no interest at the first and second markers there. And once he took one step forward, there was only going to be one result. That is awful defence.
Yeah.
Complete misunderstanding within the ranks of the Huddersfield defence, especially near the line. So easy, very simple stuff. And as soon as he picked the ball up, took that one step, and they just seemed to just disappear in this Huddersfield defence. He must be bitterly disappointed, Tony Smith.
Sculthorpe, this is his most difficult conversion of the night, and he is a man of old-fashioned ways, is young Mr. Sculthorpe. The ball is being teed up on a little mountain of sand, and that is something we haven't seen since Steve-O's day.
I'm going to say some of the old-timers would have a little bit of a smile. Well,
Yeah.
He's not going to do toe up front, is he? He's
No.
still round the corner.
And he just grazed the post with that. 22 points to 6.
Oh, look at the defensive line here. Quick play the ball, got them in that position. And you can see there, no one even went left. They hung around. 4 men within the vicinity, and he just strolled over. Well, it is a holiday Monday. He's still having to work, of course, out there on the pitch, but this defensive pattern must be creating nightmares for Tony Smith, the Huddersfield coach.
Yonkers took that, and then he had to take the tackle of David Atkins as well. This now is Sean Hoppy for the Saints. 22-6 they lead. Half an hour of the match gone. Malloy comes in to try and shore up this defence.
Well, I was at the game yesterday between Bradford and Salford, and it appeared there that the Bulls just went through cruise control. I just get the feeling here, Eddie, that Saints are going to do exactly the same.
Sculthorpe with the kick through, and it's picked up by Apo. But he doesn't make too much progress. Sculthorpe was waiting for him, and the trap was snared. Chris Thorman now.
See the difference in the defensive lines.
Yes, they're to the pace of this now, Saints, aren't they?
Very tight, sliding defence, packing them in, and they're forcing Huddersfield into just one-out football. And that's just like putting icing on a cake to the St. Helens squad.
Offside, Saints now. Too quick out of the blocks to play the ball.
I think the Giants will be quite happy just to slow things down. Take a bit of a breather. That's what they're doing. Less than 10 minutes to the half-time break, and the Giants really have to produce something. They have made quite a few breaks, though. They are capable.
Yes, they've been playing pretty well in patches. There's no doubt about that. This is Mick Slicker. They've got a try, of course. They've got a line for a video referee decision of no try, so it's been promising, but they're just up against a very fine side.
But they're not helping themselves, Eddie. I mean, they made 5 against what normally is a very solid St. Helens defence. But it's when Huddersfield are camped on their own line, they seem to just forget their tight pattern in and around the play the ball area. It's been awful.
Rowley from dummy half. Just hauled down by David Furley. They're inching closer to the line, though, the Giants, but this is the last tackle, and it's with Custo, and further wide to Thorman. That's good hands. Custo again. Crossfield kick, inventive stuff. It's a deep in-goal area here at the McAlpine Stadium. but it wasn't deep enough for Cousteau's kick.
Promising build-up, nice back on the inside, and Cousteau elects to go high with the kick.
Great tackle, make it slicker up it. Hit the Steve. Well done.
Shields to Iro, he's dropped it. Thorman has swooped. Thorman could be in the corner here, and he is. Chris Thorman, it was a mistake from Kevin Iro, and Thorman just bent, picked up the ball, and the 20-year-old, the former Academy international, was over for the try for the Giants.
Well, it really has been a game where soft tries have been produced. Wasn't the best pass, Iro, if looks could kill, and Thorman, an easy stroll to the line. Picked it up. Well, they're in a gift mood, aren't they? All the players out there don't want to tackle. Don't want to catch the ball either.
Well, he played 27 of last year's 29 in the League and Cup for Huddersfield. A mature young man despite his tender years. And Steve McNamara now. Another kick to test his mettle. Helens fans are occupying the stand at his back. And McNamara has missed with the conversion. So that's 1 from 3 for McNamara, but Tony Smith's men only 12 points adrift, 22 points to 10. Courtesy of Chris Thorman's try.
Tony Smith, we just had a quick glimpse of him there. Mostly looking towards that no try from Gleeson that maybe could have put them in back into this game. Well, I think that Tony Smith is fully aware that the big problem that he has to face during the half-time break is that they've got to... Oh, that's poor defence yet again. Bad sections there, left a huge gap. Thorman, the try scorer, thought made full use of it. And again, they're leaving such huge gaps all over, even from the kick-off now.
Yes, the important thing about that is that St Helens now get head and feed from the scrum, 20 metres in and 10 metres from the line, and here they are in a glorious position. Stewart was almost through. It took an important tackle there from Gleeson. Kevin Iro doing his best to make up for the mistake. Joint out wide to Newlove.
Lost it.
He's just lost it. Well,
he'll go to see whether it was dragged out.
Just checking, there were too many tackles. Was he stolen or did he lose it?
Well, if it was stolen and he's in the act of scoring, this could be a penalty try, couldn't it?
Oh, don't get me on that one, Eddie. Is it stolen, or does he try? No, he tried to reach out.
Oh, I think Costin's got a fingertip to that.
No, I don't. I think that you can see that the left arm from Newlove, yeah, he tries to reach out and block it down.
Watch this from this angle. Watch the right arm of Costin here. Wait for it.
He's gone for the shirt.
There.
Oh, I'm not so sure.
Well, thank goodness we aren't video referees. But I know what this is going to be. It's been so quick.
No try.
You're right.
Your eyes are absolutely magnificent at times. And they file the nails, you know.
Ian Millwood, well, a shake of the head.
Well, he obviously felt that that you were right, Eddie.
Now a penalty because Slicker was trying to get to his feet and Cunningham was stopping him. Quick tap by Paul Rowley. He gets it away to Costin. Costin on his way to the corner, Frews outside him. Sullivan got to him and knocked the ball out of his hands. And the ball has gone over the touchline and it's head and feet to St Helens.
Now, did he drop it?
Well, I think he's got that wrong.
Sullivan surely got the hand to the ball in.
Watch this.
Deliberately knocks it
Bosh.
down, so that means...
Knock on against... No, knock on, not knock on. He's got it right now.
Well done.
It's not a knock on by Sullivan because he was facing
Going
his
back,
own line.
but it went into touch. Well, a golden opportunity.
Yeah, Yes, 10 metres away now, Huddersfield from the scrum. And here's Costin again. He pops the ball back up. It's through.
Nearly offloaded then, did the winger through. Sculthorpe just got to him in time.
Custo to Costin. Back it goes to Malloy. Former England international captain Steve Malloy. He's 3 metres short of that line. Rowley. Chris Thorman.
Oh,
Costin again. He releases the ball though to Custo. Back it goes to Thorman. Chip over the top. Cardoza against Sullivan. And Sullivan and Wellens defuse the bomb.
Misunderstanding there, but Wellens came and said, I'm going to get it. Great take.
He took charge of the situation there, Paul Wellens.
What a fine season. Did well there, Stewart. Big problems for that man, Tony Smith, the Huddersfield coach. And like I said earlier, the first thing he will be addressing to his players is that, come on, fellas, you've got to make sure that our line of defence is solid, especially near our line.
Iro is smothered, but somehow he stays within the field of play. Cunningham and David Fairley. That's much better defence from Huddersfield. Sculthorpe with the dab through. Oh, collected, but not collected. It went backwards, and Graham Appo picks up the pieces.
Good job that Appo was around.
Oh, that was heart attack time for Tony Smith. Cardoza now.
Just lack of concentration there from the winger. And Appo came to the rescue. Well, to be fair, things seem to have settled down out there.
I was just about to make that very point.
Getting on with the game of rugby league football, as they should.
Rowley.
There was plenty of chatting midway through this first half. And you've got to hand it to the referee, Ian Smith. He's taking full control out there. He's calmed everything down.
Here's Gleeson. Gleeson to Thorman. Oh, it was straight into Thorman's face. Now here goes Yonkers.
To be fair, Thorman should have taken that.
Hoppy. Sculthorpe. Joint. Out the back. Cruikshank. Good play.
Nice offload there. Not the best pass.
No, it wasn't, but Sullivan made it okay, but only just. Cardoza and threw in quickly.
Well, this surely will be one drive and then the kick.
Cunningham. Oh, swatting them out of the way. Cunningham.
So much strength, hasn't he? Unbelievable upper body strength from Cunningham.
Sculthorpe. Oh, he nearly released the pass.
Get off there! Hey!
St Helens inching ever closer. Cunningham's dropped it though, and he'll play the first knock on against Cunningham. Well, we're right on the stroke of half-time. I don't think there'll be even time for this scrum to form.
Well, they're not rushing, that's for sure.
Well, nobody really has taken Huddersfield to the cleaners yet this year. And the margin against the World Club champions is just 12 points at the break. Huddersfield gave the Saints an almighty fright with a 6-0 lead in 7 minutes. But then the Saints got going. Sculthorpe with 2, Newlove and Cunningham. It was 22-6 after just over half an hour, and then Thornham's try, 3 minutes from half-time, gives us the 22 points to 10 scoreline. But it's the injury to Sean Long that is the major concern for St Helens, I'm sure, at this stage. But the world champions are ahead at the break. Half-time at the McAlpine Stadium. Huddersfield Giants, bottom of the table, winless now in 11 and a half games against the World Club champions St Helens, who are ahead by 22 points to 10. Well, this is the usual pre-match routine that St Helens go through before every half. I don't know exactly what it means, but I suppose it's a ritual that has worked well for them over the past 14 months, and why shouldn't they continue it now? Huddersfield are on the field. They're keen to get back into the swing of things. Brandon Costin on report for the challenge on Sean Long, which has put him out of the match. And, well, we'll have to wait to see the repercussions of that for both Long and Brandon Costin. Chris Joynt, the St Helens captain. Try against Salford last week was his first for 9 games. And there is Sean Long, and that is a sad sight. And he's obviously in some desperate trouble with that knee. 22-10, his team are ahead.
Well, he must be absolutely gutted inside the dressing room there, having such a wonderful season, and it could all be taken away from him now. Could be out for several weeks. Let's hope that when they do get to an X-ray, it's not as bad as what we fear, perhaps.
Well, ligament damage is certainly the order of the weekend, isn't it, with Jason Hetherington of the London Broncos suffering knee problems. He awaits a scan, and they have dreadful fears at the Valley that it might be the season that Hetherington will be out. And now they must be having similar worries at St Helens over Sean Long.
Well, you could see that Ian Millward, he came to the sidelines. He was absolutely furious over the situation. Ian Smith, of course, did the right thing, put it on report.
Well, here are the Giants. Saints and Huddersfield must put all that to the back of their mind now. It's the last tackle, and it's with Custo. He gets the ball away. That's a neat little dink over the top by Apo, and that was touched, and it's back to 0. And this is Thorman to the corner. Thorman turns the ball inside. A great defensive tackle in the end. That was Sean Hoppy, wasn't it?
Well, they couldn't drag it in, and Thorman going back on the inside.
No,
it's
it was Paul Wellens.
Wellens yet again. He came to the rescue in the first half, but good run, good break. Mistake there by Saints, who are looking to get away with that.
Well, they certainly can't be even thinking about easing off the pedal yet, St Helens, not with that sort of raid coming at them in the opening minute and a half. Wonder what the instructions were from the two coaches at half-time. Bill?
Well, Tony Smith, the Huddersfield Giants coach, will be pleased to a certain extent with that start from his side. He would have loved to have seen Chris Thorman make more of that chance that came his side's way, and they need to do that if they're to close this gap. But he's pretty pleased with the way they've created opportunities against this Saints side. He knows that what they've got to do in the second half is to tighten up on the defence, and that has been their Achilles heel this season. And especially in the second half, if they're to stand any chance against this Saints side, they can't afford to let Saints get a grip early in this second period. Ian Millward, the Saints coach, similarly satisfied with his team's efforts so far. Well, apart from the fact that towards the end of the first half they got a little bit sloppy and 1 or 2 mistakes, and he wants them to tighten up on that, maintain their discipline, get back to their game plan. The news on Sean Long from the Saints dressing room is that he has a knee injury. Saints aren't willing to divulge exactly how serious that knee injury is.
Andrew Frew is collared, and there is Sean Long on the bench with the knee elevated. And every time Brandon Costin touches it now, he gets the rounds of the kitchen from the St Helens supporters. Lomax hands it on to Steve Malloy. Took a good tackle from Fairley to hold him. Here is Rowley. Goes wide to McNamara, and then further wide to Custo, the scrum half.
Pretty solid defence there by Saints, moving up as one unit.
McNamara will put the kick in here. It's high and it's wide. It's looking for Frew again, but Sullivan was protected by Newlove and Sculthorpe. Frew got Costin got to him with the tackle. Wellens.
Good work yet again in defensive effort from Costin. 2 tackles on the trot.
Joint steps out of the would-be tackler, gives it to Sculthorpe. He's surrounded. Picked up by the ankles by Rowley and dumped to the ground with Lomax's assistance.
Well, the key for St Helens now is to keep this ball alive. Everyone knows in Super League that Huddersfield's biggest problem is that they do have a tendency to capitulate late in the game, so that if it can run them off their feet, and that's what they're doing, they're keeping it alive.
With Heath Cruikshank, who got the pass somewhat unexpectedly, I think, for him from Peter Shields. That's the last tackle, called by the referee Ian Smith. Sculthorpe, that's charged down. It was off the legs of McNamara. The ball played the man is the shout from the referee, and that's
That'll be a turnover.
Terrific stuff for Huddersfield.
Ball certainly went on to the man. McNamara is the man involved. And he knows now that a golden opportunity.
Yes, that's the turnover, because it was on the last, and Huddersfield now in the Saints' 20-metre zone. Malloy plays the ball, and here comes Mick Slicker. Slicker,
they
great
left a
strength.
huge gap there, did Saints. Slicker just strolled through.
Custo now. He's got Thorman behind him, and here is Costin. Costin gets them to within 8 metres. Oh, that was dangerous.
And that hurt as well.
And he's not happy with it, Costin. A little dab through looking for Apo, swept up though by Wellens. Well, it was Brandon Costin. Now, is this dangerous or not?
Well, it should have been that. He had his hand between, and you can't do that. That should have been spotted by the official. That should have been a penalty to the Giants. So dangerous.
Well, Heath Cruikshank was involved. I think Chris Joynt was involved as well. Here is Joynt now in an attacking mode, and he bounces off too. Play on is the call. Cruikshank, it goes wide to Shields, and further wide to Yonkers. Yonkers drops it. McNamara's got it back for Huddersfield.
I think you might find it was Stewart in there, Eddie, that made a real meal of it. And now they've got to really put it. Yeah, it was Stewart. Was that knocked out? No, it wasn't, according to the official. Andrew Frew was on the floor. Well, there's one thing keeping the ball alive, but you've got to respect this possession.
Costin. Oh, it wasn't the best ball. Cardoza had Newlove all over him, and he dropped the ball. Dale Cardoza.
He was coming back on the angle. Costin just pulled it in, not expecting it. He was well looked after, though, by the big fella, Paul Newlove. Big night for him, Cardoza, against this fella. Scored a sensational intercept in the first half.
Wellens will feed this scrum.
Well, Saints know that this game isn't wrapped up as yet.
No, they take their foot off the gas at their peril here, the Saints. This is Sculthorpe. Ferocious tackling from Huddersfield. Cunningham, it goes wide. Dropped. They have it back again through Gleeson.
Well,
Shields was the culprit there.
They're getting into their faces now. It really is warming up. And you just have a feeling that the Giants sense they've got a golden opportunity here.
Lomax. Rowley. Custo. Custo again.
Forward.
Thorman. Shields and Iro are there. Rowley. Good hands. And again, McNamara. Costin. Lomax. Bounces off one. Can't get away from Cunningham, but releases the ball to Apo. Graham Apo! Apo is in! Graham Apo with the try for Huddersfield. All the pressure from Huddersfield Giants. And eventually the pressure told.
Great work from the Giants, keeping the ball alive. Brandon Costin involved, got them in this position. The offload was superb. Got to hand it to them. Delayed pass, they couldn't get to him. This is outstanding stuff. Oh, and Apo, cheekily, he waved at Wellens. But this is magnificent rugby league football. Keeping it alive. Excellent stuff there. Lomax did well to get away with it and then just slipped it away. There was a huge gap. Apo has a big grin, has a smile at Welland, said, come and get me. You can't. And he couldn't.
McNamara adds the extras. The bottom club are down, but only by 6 against the world champions.
Well, I just got the feeling that they would just, if they could score the try, get back into this game. You just have that feeling. And St. Helens, they were trying to force the pass far too often. A little bit casual, and they paid the price.
Well, they looked for the touchline again from the kick-off, but this time it wasn't there. They learned the lesson of the first half. Well, you know, St. Helens have got a small date with Bradford Bulls at Knowsley Road on Saturday, and this tough battle here at the McAlpine is the last thing they would have wanted in the week of that. But well, they have got a battle.
Well, they've roughed it up, haven't they, the Giants? They've taken it to them in the second half. And St. Helens have just had a bit of a wobble. They can't afford to be looking towards next week's game. They've got a huge game here.
It's Saints against Bradford. It's Saturday at 6. It's live on Sky Sports 3. Join us for that. That will be a cracker. This isn't bad. Rowley, Costin, off the boot. Oh, offside. He was stood offside, was David Furley, because it bounced off the Saints man.
You need a bit of luck sometimes. Furley looks confused, but little doubt in the mind of the official. He got it right. Costin put the kick through. And when it came off Sculthorpe, that man in the picture was well and truly offside. Then on the rack.
The Saints are wobbling, and Slicker has made such a difference since he came on, but he's lost it. Well pinched by Shields. Here is Iro.
Good impact though by Shields. Bang, straight into it. When the ball came free, flicked it up. Oh, that's silly play, interfering there. Slicker caught and well, they've thrown away all the advantage. You can see there, he tries to piggyback over the top. Atkins it was, the second rower.
You've been getting close, come on!
So on halfway, here come the Saints with Furley.
Well, I just feel that Saints have to step up a gear.
Iro's trying to do that. And the Saints supporters trying to lift them as well. Cunningham. Cruikshank.
Plenty of spinach out there in the Giants, and the defence is a lot solid. Certainly a lot better than what it was in the first half.
Cunningham. Slicker's on his back. McNamara's got hold of him round the collar. But they're 9 metres away. Sculthorpe on a hat-trick. Just hauled back by this Huddersfield defence, which has stood firm for 5. Can it stand firm now against Cunningham? He's got it down.
No doubt about it.
Cunningham has got that down, and that is strength personified from Kieran Cunningham. How on earth did he get that ball to ground?
We mentioned the fact that he's got wonderful upper body strength, and that's the reason why he plopped that down. There was plenty in attendance. They went right underneath. Look at that. 5 of them in and around, and he goes plonk. Super stuff. Apo tried to get underneath it. Look at this. Slicker goes. Thorman helps. Gleeson was there. And that right left arm, should I say, bang. Keeps himself low. They really should have stopped him. But he's not easy to stop, is he? Despair on the faces of Huddersfield. Relief, I'm sure, in the St. Helens camp. How many times has that fella brought them back from the brink of perhaps what could have been defeat? Has a knack of doing it.
Yes, he does it with monotonous regularity for the opposition. Paul Sculthorpe, not the regular kicker. Tommy Martin, of course, out long term. Sean Long out of this match. And Sculthorpe with a difficult conversion attempt. Oh, I tell you what, he's kicked it. 28 points to 16. Parity restored at half-time.
He just amazes me, this fella. We talk of second effort. Time and time again. What a servant to this club. The St. Helens fans chanting his name out, and rightly so. Big smile on his face. He knows how important that try was.
Wellens will run the ball back from the kickoff.
Well, will that have taken the wind out of the Giants? They were really up for it. They were eager beavers.
Well, if you think about it, they have suffered none of those heavy defeats that ruined the year 2000. Only Hull, 44-14 winners, have taken them apart. And when they got back to within 6, they must have thought that history was beckoning, because their last league win at home against the Saints was 30 years ago at the old Fartown ground in 1971. Kick through was by Sculthorpe. It's a deep in-goal area. Andrew Friel's got it, and he does well.
Ready perfectly. Racing back, got plenty of speed as Andrew Friel. But the big problem now for the Giants, can they get into a good position so they can get away a good field position kick? Won't be easy.
Dale Lawton. They're slapping at them, the tacklers. Eventually Yonkers and Iro getting to Dale Cardosa. Rowley at dummy half. That's going to be a 40-20 if it finds the touchline on the right side of the post. It doesn't. It was invented from Apo.
He's had a fine game as a fullback. Came on to the burst on that one.
St Helens last away win, by the way, in Super League, 20 points to 18 at London. March the 24th.
And they were pretty lucky to snatch that one as well.
Yes, that was at the death.
And it was that man Cunningham that did it too.
Oof, big collision there between number 18, Chris Molyneux, and David Fairley. Sculthorpe gives it to Wellens. Wellens gets away from Costin. He can't get away from Lawton. And there's another injury.
Picked him up well, did Lawton there. Looks like Sculthorpe's down.
But this is Newlove, who's ghosted down the sideline. Great try. Great try from Paul Newlove. He's hung up his international boots this year. And when he's in the mood, Paul Newlove's one of the best in the world. And that's a shame for Great Britain. But St Helens, watch this.
Well, again, the first and second marker are non-existent. He did ever so well to go low right at the finish. What on earth is this Huddersfield defence doing in and around the play the ball area? Gets it down just in time before he hits the whitewash. Low trajectory, make sure that he gets the 4 points. Keeping the ball alive, that's what they needed.
Well, it's a shame he's gone from the Test arena. Paul Newlove, big game player. Now, in the build-up to that try, Paul Sculthorpe was down and receiving treatment. He was injured. And he's just kicked one off the touchline the other side. Now carrying a bit of a knock. He's got to do the same again from the other side. That's his angle. Ian Millwood comes down from his lofty perch. Down to the sideline. I think he knows that maybe that was the crucial blow. The 6th St Helens try. Sculthorpe to improve matters. Hits the post. 32 points to 16.
You see Cardosa very slow to come away on that second marker. And you can see Costin, he's just standing still. You cannot hesitate, not with a big fella like this. Scoots in, just gets it down.
Paul Newlove, average metres gained this year per match, 69, and he must have run about 49 for that try, and didn't he enjoy it? All along the deck from Chris Thorman, bounces off Wellens, picked up by Cruikshank. Well, an important 20 minutes now remaining, or thereabouts, 21 minutes remaining for the Huddersfield Giants.
Well, mentally and physically they will be feeling tired, and I think that the coach Tony Smith will be hoping that they can just keep them out, make sure that St Helens don't get on a roll.
Steve Hall just on, and Mark Edmondson has also returned for St Helens. He now is the man occupying the black skull cap. This is David Fairley. Last tackle for Saints. Sculthorpe with the kick. Too deep.
Strong. And they'll be relieved, will the Giants, that they can just get themselves sorted out a little bit. Like all the great sides, if you allow them to get on the roll, score 3 quick tries, it can have a devastating effect on your confidence.
This is a danger man for Huddersfield, though, Andrew Frew, formerly with Parramatta, Manly and the Northern Eagles. This is David Lomax. No, it isn't. It's David Atkins. Who's your man of the match? 09009 10 10 13. Break on here. Oh, lovely dummy. Great dummy. Great try. Dale Lawton. They're not done yet, the Giants. They have been improving all year. Standards of fitness have been raised. And that was a prop forwards try. It looked more like a scrum half. It was a beautiful dummy from Lawton.
Well, I thought he bombed it. Back on the inside, they went far too high. Peter Shields, one of the culprits, but look at the dummy there. Wellens took it. Well, you would have given it to the fullback, wouldn't you, really, to make sure, but he got there in the end. Great effort. Iro and Shields couldn't put him down. Oh, that's a beauty. Now you see me, now you don't. You'll remember that one for a long, long time. From forwards enjoy doing that, especially when you throw a dummy in with it.
More than 200 first-grade appearances for Dale Lawton, and yet another lifeline for the Giants. McNamara's added the extras. 32-22. He can be well pleased with his team's efforts.
Well, he knows the qualities of going forward and in attack. They've split the St Helens defence on many occasions. And we mentioned before the kick-off that the confidence they would have got by scoring 46 against Leeds the week before. Can they? That's the big question that's going through that man's mind. Can they come up with a quick try?
Well, then it would be all on. They certainly know their way to the try line, as you so rightly say. So do the Saints. This attack is bettered only by the Bulls and Leeds after 11 rounds. But defence, before tonight, 315 points conceded. It's a matter of concern for Ian Millwood. The Giants, well, they've got the worst attack and the worst defence in the business. But I tell you what, Phil Clark, they're giving you a great run for your money.
Well, I've probably made myself about as popular as you two in St Helens by going for the Giants tonight. And I just feel as though they've really got a win coming. I don't think it may be tonight, simply because of the fact they've just let too many soft tries in. Mistakes at times, really, which I'm sure they will live to really regret. They've certainly got a chance, and we know from last week's performance they will want to score points and can score points late in this second half. From time to time, mistakes such as that really haven't given them a chance.
Well, it's that man Brandon Costin with the misguided kick. If you look at the fixture list, Steve-O, next weekend, we've mentioned Leeds and London, but for the Giants, they have got a massive match. They're at Halifax, and that will have major repercussions, maybe, at the other end of the table.
It certainly will. It'll be interesting, and I'm sure it'll be a tough, hard game. Halifax will have no doubt after watching tonight. They've taken it to this St Helens back. There's been some big hits out there, not to the liking of sometimes the officials, but they certainly know how to mix it.
They do. Yonkers, Cunningham, the dummy half. Here he goes again. Oh, just look at the strength of this man. Just look at him go!
just outstanding.
High road to Sculthorpe. Wellens dummied one way, couldn't get the pass away. Edmondson was hunting. Sculthorpe, Hoppy, Edmondson scores. If he's over the line, he didn't see it. He didn't see it grounded, but Mark Edmondson might have lost his scrum cap. He thinks he's got 4.
So do I. Nothing wrong with that. Don't think the video referee will mess around too long. Take one last angle. But that's fine. Full control. Little fingers and thumb. Round the ball. TRY.
That is Mark Edmondson's first try in Super League. His only other try, coincidentally, against Huddersfield in the Cup quarter-final.
Great build-up. Neat little pass there from Hoppy. Well, the forwards, prop forwards in particular, throwing dummies all over the place tonight. You would have thought in warm conditions that it would have been a three-quarters night, but Lawton threw the dummy, Edmondson's doing that. Some of the prop forwards from many, many years ago will be shaking their heads. Prop forwards dummying and even scoring tries. Well, well, well.
Well, is that the try that finally snuffs out this challenge and this brave challenge from the Giants? Sculthorpe to add the extras. Ian Millwood hopes that signals the end of Huddersfield. Don't count on anything yet, Ian. Sculthorpe adds 2 more. It's 38-22. They can score points, can Huddersfield, but they ship them in, I'm afraid.
Well, they paid the price, didn't they, the Giants? Mainly due to the fact that some woeful defence near their own line, especially the 2 Sculthorpe tries very early in the match. There's nothing for your confidence.
We're back underway. Huddersfield Giants 6 points behind the Halifax Blue Sox. They must be asking themselves, when will this first win of the year arrive? I don't think it's going to arrive tonight now, but boy have they given the world champs a game. They've got a quarter of an hour left.
The big problem, Eddie, is that they only compete in passages of time, not for the full 80 minutes, and it always will be a problem for them. Silly mistakes at crucial moments. And as you say, we've seen that they're capable of breaking down the defence.
Good run from Stewart, highly rated this youngster by Ian Millwood. Quick play the ball to Cunningham. Here's Sculthorpe, a dab over the top, but it's snuffed out again, and here comes Costin once more.
Great
tackle. What a chase by Wellens. Here's Lawton. Lomax, should I say. Marshall now.
They just will not give in, will they, the Giants? You've got to give them credit for that.
Rowley. Lomax.
You see the difference in attitude now from the St. Helens defence. They're looking a little bit tired. They're holding back.
Costin to his feet. 12 metres away. Apo.
He's had a solid game. Oh, he's injured.
Oh, and Cardozo's waving immediately for assistance for Graham Apo.
Well, that's a shame, because he's had a fine match. And then does it... Oh, yeah, the ankle. The ankle twists right underneath. There it is. You see the weight there going right on. And that doesn't do the ligaments any good. Let's hope it's not too bad an injury. But he certainly is in pain out there.
And the stretcher's on the way again. We've seen Sean Long taken off on a stretcher. That was a bitter blow for St. Helens. And Graham Apo, this is equally as bitter a pill to swallow for Tony Smith and the Giants as that was.
Always a shame to see anyone pick up an injury, but you can see there the weight. Oh, right underneath there. Tim Yonkers is a big boy. And you could see straight away that the fullback Apo was in a lot of problems.
And he now becomes the second player to leave the field on the stretcher tonight. You don't like to see that twice in a season, never mind twice in a match.
Complete accident, of course. Yonkers would have had no knowledge of that, just trying to get involved into the tackle. It was just Apo's leg just went right underneath, and the full weight of the torso going onto an ankle.
That man there in your screen paid his own airfare to come across for the interview for the Huddersfield Giants coaching job. And I don't know whether they reimbursed him, but they certainly said he could have the opportunity. And Steve-O, his record on paper, 11 and zip, maybe after tonight 12 and zip, isn't terribly impressive, but the way he has fashioned this side, not bad.
Yeah, you've got to give him some credit for that at least, and he's brought a new sort of encouraging attitude. Great team spirit here at Huddersfield. And to be fair, there has been times when they've shown some real skillful rugby league football, which obviously pleases any coach, but it's a nightmare attitude of simple mistakes and bad defence. Simple basics, you know, first and second markers, you should get that right every time.
Matautia got the ball away, and Edmondson did really well to hang on to it. He had to take the tackle from Richard Marshall. Here's Wellens. Sculthorpe was hunting the offload, never came.
Interference there, but that's good refereeing.
And this is great play from Cunningham. They've got a white wall with Cunningham. He's still going. He's still going. What a run. Last one. They're in the danger zone. Shields to Sculthorpe.
Sculthorpe been looking for the hat-trick.
There was no way through for Yonkers. They didn't hear the call, I think. I don't think Yonkers heard the call. He looked terribly confused then when Ian Smith said that's the turnover.
The second power play we've seen from Saints, but as Eddie mentioned, I think that was more of a mistake rather than an option to take. Oh, good referee. There was interference there, and that's a good little kick.
And it's arrived in the arms of Costin, and Costin has seen that they're charging up in support. Iro's after this. Iro, well, no one will get it. The ball will run dead. Wasn't a bad option, though.
Super combination. Always been the villain, hasn't he? It was a neat little kick through by Thorman. And Costin, of course, involved in that incident that saw Sean Long stretch it off from the field of play. And he's worked hard. Can't take that away from him, Brendan Costin.
There's Brandon Costin. 50 tries from him, by the way, in club football in Australia, so he's certainly a talent.
Come on, Brandon!
Good offload. Pulling him off for the time being. Wellens takes over from Edmondson.
Cardoza did well there.
They're trying to slow St Helens down now in the play the ball in the last 10. Sculthorpe, Wellens. Ducks under Slicker's first attempt. But along with Molyneux, he's brought to ground. Yonkers the dummy half now. Here's Sculthorpe. Little dab through, but that's fairly easy. Well, we've seen Graham Appo stretch it off. We had news of Sean Long earlier. Now then, what about Graham Appo, Bill?
Well, the word from the Huddersfield Giants camp is that it's his right ankle, and I think Graham Appo went into this game with a slight injury doubt. I'm not sure whether it was in that same area, but certainly he's in the dressing room at the moment, and he's in a lot of pain, and it is the right ankle. Sean Long is, as we've seen, sitting on the Saints bench. I've just asked him how his knee feels. He says he can't feel a thing. The painkillers are working wonders.
He's not in any agony at the moment, but look at the work that Saints have been doing from dummy half, and you can read that for a lot of those 26, Mr. Cunningham, he's made half of them, 13.
He's had a fine game, hasn't he? Along with the loose forward, Paul Sculthorpe. No doubt about it, the big fella. Having a second bite.
Right, let's give you the numbers again for man of the match. I don't think we gave you them properly earlier. 09009 10 10 13 UK. Irish viewers 15 50 92 35 56. We want the name of the man of the match. Agree with Steve and Phil. You could be off to the grand final on October the 13th. The grand final, of course, that St Helens have won the last 2 years. Marshall. Ball down by Fairley.
They're falling off the tackles now. They're looking tired of Saints.
Cardoza to the in-goal area. He's going to score. Cardoza has scored for Huddersfield. Dale Cardoza, and Huddersfield just won't go away.
Well, the kicking game has been superb at times, and Cardoza took it upon himself. I mentioned the fact that St Helens were tiring in defence. This is a good effort. Skips around. He's had a hard night against the likes of Kevin Ira and Paul Newland, but he's come up with a super try. That was a wonderful effort from Cardoza.
Well, a try for Cardoza in his last home game against Castleford, and a try in his debut as a sub against St Helens at Knowsley Road last May. Tony Smith, the Huddersfield coach, will be proud of his men in defeat again. Brandon Costin has taken over the kicking duties, and he hasn't kicked a goal before, and he hasn't kicked a goal now.
And with that technique, I don't think he ever will. This was a good effort. And for once, the first and second markers on St Helens, for a change, was at fault. But it was quick thinking by Cardoza. And yet again, the Giants will be looking at the scoreboard thinking, well, we can put points on the board, can't we? But we can't get enough to score more than the opposition.
Yes, their only wins this year have come in the Challenge Cup against Featherstone and Doncaster. They have not toppled a Super League club yet. It's going to be 12 and none. He lost that. He's not happy with the decision, David Atkins.
I think there's a right to be a bit upset there. I think there might have been no, you're right. He just dropped it. But he's not too happy with the referee for not calling held. Yeah, I make that 72 points. 72 points is scored in 2 games.
And both ended up on the losing side.
We've got blocked.
By the way, Brandon Costin has kicked goals for his clubs in Australia before, so he's no stranger to kicking. Although, when we saw that conversion attempt, I think you were right. Wellens from the base of the scrum. Wellens is going to score under the sticks. Wellens touches down. Simple try. Simple try for the standoff come fullback. And, well, that brings a smile to the face of Ian Millwood.
Such a talent. And that's the reason why Ian Millwood has that big smile, because he's got him in his side. He has come on a bundle this year. We often refer to the amount of fullbacks that we have in this country, and we've got some good ones. Rudlinski, obviously, but this guy is keeping Mr. Rudlinski on, that is for sure. He gets better and better each game.
One of 5 men in the Lancashire squad for the Origin game. Ian Millwood will be well pleased with the result, but I wonder at what cost, with Sean Long off the field, on the bench, on crutches, and with pain-killing injections in a knee. Sculthorpe from bang in front, no problems for him. 44-26 now. Wellens, the latest try scorer. And there have been plenty of points tonight. That's the 8th St Helens try. And 5 tries for Huddersfield.
Well, they look at the scoreboard many weeks on throughout the season, and they'll think it perhaps was quite a walkover in many eyes, but it's been a tough encounter out there.
That is a great take from Iro, but it's a knock-on, and he's saying that the ball was knocked out of his hands as he tried to get up and play the ball, but the referee, Ian Smith, will have none of it.
It was well to take it, and then on his way up, well, Cooper's all over him. Oh, I think Cooper's left arm got to that.
Well, it did. 3 minutes to go. Have St Helens got something left? Have Huddersfield got a little sting in the tail? Offside. He shot out of the scrum then, did he, Cruikshank? So more possession for the Giants. Gleeson tried to step inside. Hoppy denied, remember, in the first half, Martin Gleeson, by the video referee. They're still not giving in. Here's Thorman. Marshall.
They've run the angles very well indeed of the Giants. Their work in attack in and around that play the ball area has been most impressive.
Malloy offloaded, and they retain possession, and they offload again. Thorman to continue the move. Costin dabs it towards the corner and the in-goal area.
Too strong.
Wellens allows the ball, takes the gamble, allows the ball to run dead. Costin was airing up behind him. Well, he's had an eventful night, as Brandon Costin.
And quite frankly, I think we might hear his name mentioned midweek too.
Here is Hoppy. 1.5 minutes remain. Sullivan.
Well, they've got the 2 points in the bag, St Helens, that they so badly needed. But I think that they will be looking ruefully at the fact that it's been a costly 2 points. That'll be back to 6.
It is. There's nearly 6 points for the Giants right at the end. 1.25 minutes remain.
To get two league points are very valuable, as you well know, Eddie, but the price of perhaps losing Sean Long for a lengthy period,
enormous.
Sure is.
This is David Furley again. When you consider, Steve-O mentioned it earlier, Tommy Martin, he's out for a considerable length of time as well.
Well, they're the two main architects, aren't they, for their attack? Throwing Kieran Cunningham, of course, but they work so well together. And I'm sure that even Ian Millwood would have to accept the fact that without those two, they could struggle when it comes to the playoff time.
Matauti is a dummy half, but in the last 20 seconds of the match, it's with Yonkers, and this is Sculthorpe, who's on the hat-trick. And maybe we'll have time, well, they'll have time for this last tackle, this set of 6. Have they got time to get over the line? Sculthorpe, they're counting down on the terraces. Wellens puts the kick in. Sullivan's after, Hall is after it. This will be the last tackle of the match. And there it is. Kieran Cunningham finished up on the bench. He ended up on the winning side. Paul Sculthorpe had a huge hand to play in this win. It's defeat number 12 in Super League for Huddersfield. It's an unwanted record, but boy have they given the champions a fight tonight. St Helens consolidate their position in the top 5, but we're all asking at what cost. Tony Smith pleased again with the effort. St Helens have got the victory, but Sean Long, he is off the field, and he has been for much of the match. He had a nasty knee injury, and he could be out for some time to come. This is the way it ended up. 26 points to 44. Victory for St Helens. Paul Sculthorpe's 2 tries earn him the Man of the Match award. He gets the Tissot watch, and Paul Sculthorpe is now with Bill.
Paul, congratulations. There you go. There's the watch. And you were just saying before they came to us, you made that hard work for yourselves in a way.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to Tissot for the prize. Yeah, we knew it'd be a tough game. Huddersfield away, you know. I think they're hard done by not winning the game this year, because they're certainly better than that. But like I said, 2 points is 2 points. You know, we're disappointed with the defence. You know, we're letting far too many points again. But you know, like I said, we'll take the win.
2 tries, 5 goals. You're a bit of a traditionalist as well, aren't you? You don't like the kicking tee, do you?
No, well, I mean, I do the kick-offs and he was Sand, so I think long he's lost his job.
Well, yeah. Well, you must be. That was the downside. Sean limping off.
Yeah, it's a big blow for us. Let's hope he's not too bad and he can get back for the Bradford game on Saturday.
We look forward to that anyway. Well done, Paul.
Cheers, Bob. Bye, mate.